Good afternoon, one and all. Today, I am going to discuss about the different types of software process models on which are related to software engineering. And these particular software process models are those which are used for designing and developing a softwares in different aspects based upon the need of the customer as well as based upon the need of the society. Different types of products will be developed in different manner based upon the requirement specification which has been specified by the customers. See, whenever we want to develop something, we require something in the form of something in the form of requirements. Requirements are nothing but inputs from the users who are going to use a particular product. Whenever we want to develop something, we need inputs. And where we are going to get these inputs? We are going to get these inputs from the society or from the environment or from the ideas which has been generated by a specific person or a customers. So by collecting the requirements, based upon the requirements, we are going to design the products, and we are going to design. After designing, we are going to implement that particular product, and we are going to put that particular product into practice. That is what the process which we use to carry out in terms of any development activity, whether it may be a development process or whether it may be a testing process. Each and every process is interrelated to each other when we are developing some sort of products, whether it may be a software product or whether it may be a hardware product or it may be a combination of both. So here, the first and foremost concept that we are going to discuss here is what is software process activities. What is a software process first of all? See, software process is nothing but it is a set of fundamental activities and its associated results which helps us to design and develop the product easily and effectively. Any activity, any product which you are going to develop, if I want to develop a product, then we need to carry out certain activities. Those activities are nothing but a fundamental activities which helps us to develop the product easily and effectively with an effective result. Without performing any activity, it's impossible for us to develop any product. Any product, if I want to develop any sort of product using a software engineering process, we need set of fundamental activities. And each and every activity will be interrelated to each other. Instead, we can also say them as those are interdependent. The process of activity 1 is dependent on customer's requirement. Process of activity 2 is dependent on activity 1. Process of activity 3 is dependent on activity 2. Process of activity 3 is dependent on activity 4, and so on. So each and every activity which we are going to carry out for the development of the product is interdependent. Without the outcome of first activity, we can't perform the operation of second activity. Without the outcome of second activity, we can't perform the third activity. Without the outcome of third activity, we can't perform the fourth activity, and so on. So each and every activity is interrelated and interdependent to each other. Without performing any of these activities, we can't develop a product in a proper and effective manner. So software process is nothing but process in the sense systematic work. Process speaks about the basic meaning of process is systematic. Systematic way of completing the work is nothing but a process. So whenever we are going to perform an operation, software process is a one which deals with the basic activities, where those basic activities are broadly divided into 4 different types. One is software specification, second one is software development, third one is software validation, and the fourth one is software evolution. These are the 4 important fundamental activities which we can come across in the development of any software product. Without this particular 4 fundamental activities, we can't perform these sort of operations. Okay, so here there may be many number of software development, software process, many types of software process. Please unmute yourself. There are many type of software process which can deal with development of different types of software product. But each and every type of software process requires these four important fundamentals compulsory. Without these four important fundamental activities, we can't develop any software product. So whenever we want to develop a software product, these are the four important activities which we need to carry out compulsory in order to develop the product. Where the first activity here is software specification. See, software specification will tell you what type of product that we are going to develop in future. Software specification speaks about what type of product, what type of software product or what type of a product that you are going to develop in the upcoming stages or upcoming activities. Here, in terms of software specification, the engineer or the manager of the organization is going to collect the information in the form of a requirements from the customers. He is going to interact with the customer and he is going to take the requirements from the customer. Based upon the requirements that has been given by the customer, they will design the constraints, the required quality, required constraints, required specifications of the product. They will design that particular descriptions. They will define the descriptions, like what are the various requirements that has been mentioned by the customers. They will list out. After listing out those particular requirements, they will identify which requirements acts as a major requirements and which requirements acts as a minor requirements. After bifurcating those major and minor requirements, the next step they will do in the first stage itself is they will describe those requirements. Describing the requirements is nothing but defining the requirements of the product. What is the first requirement? First requirement definition, second requirement definition, third requirement definition, fourth requirement definition, fifth requirement definition. They will define each and every requirement separately, one after the other, in order to understand the concept of development of software. Once they understand the concept of development of software by reading those definitions, they will come to know what are the various operations that has to be adopted. What are the various operations that has to be adopted in terms of this particular software? Can be known to them only by defining the requirements of the software. Defining, like in the first stage, what is the first step that they are going to do is, in software specification, the first step is collect the requirements from the customer. Who is going to collect the requirements? Manager. After collecting the requirements, next they will define those requirements. Before defining the requirements, they will bifurcate those requirements into major requirement and minor requirement. Then later they will define the requirements in the second step. In the third step, based upon those requirements, they will try to identify the various operations which has to be carried out in order to complete the work of this particular software. What are the operations that has to be embedded into that particular software system? How to design that particular system? Like what are the various types of inputs and outputs we can give for that particular product? Has to be identified, will be identified in the first step. After performing this operation, they will be getting one specific documentation in the form of a complete details about the product. Like it helps you to know the various operations that has to be carried out in that particular software. It helps you to know what are the requirements of that particular software. It helps you to know the definitions of each and every requirements of that particular software. It helps the developer to know the various constraints which are required for operating that particular software. Once they come to know about this, they will take this particular output of software specification as an input to software development. Of software specification is considered as an input for software development process. Hello. In terms of so in terms of software development process, whatever the input that we have obtained from the first step, we will consider the document and we will try to design the software. Designing the software will help me to know how the system must look like. Whether the system must look like, it may be in the form of a size of the software, or it may be in the form of a theme of the software, it may be in the form of design, the complete design, how it must look like. Whether it must be more attractive or whether it must be less attractive or whether it must be something else can be known to me only by designing the software. Designing the software will help me to know the architecture of the software. Architecture of the software gives you the brief idea about the entire system, how it must look like. Once you come to know about it, we will decide about Once you come to know about it, we will decide about how to implement it. Implementing the product is dependent on architecture of the system. If I design the system, then only the implementation we can start up with the implementation. Without designing the system, we can't start the implementation process. The best example that I can give you is, here I came to know the requirements and we have defined the requirements. After gathering the requirements in the first stage, second is we are going to design it. Designing the requirements is nothing but writing the algorithm and flowcharts for that particular software. Writing the algorithm and flowchart of a specific software will help you to know what you are going to do. In what way it has to be implemented, how it has to be implemented, what is the first step, what is the second step, what is the third step. In order to implement all these particular steps, what are the various possible things that is needed for me in order to perform a specific operation will be known to me with the help of this particular software design. Once you come to know about all these things, next is we will program it in the form of implementation process. We will write a code for each and every requirement of our product. After that, we will write a code for each and every requirement of our product and we will implement it. Once you implement the entire software, next is we will validate it. Validation of a software is nothing but checking whether the system which has been designed and developed by me in the second stage, is working appropriately or not. We have to check whether the software is working properly or not. How we have to check? We have to check in such a way that the requirements which has been gathered by me in the first stage by the customer, from the customer, must be acceptable. All the requirements must be satisfied. And it must work in an appropriate manner. Then only the software can be delivered to the customer who have ordered me. So that is what the third step speaks about. Software validation is nothing but, in this particular stage, the output of second stage, the output of second activity will be considered as an input of third activity, and we will test it. Testing helps me to know whether we have satisfied all the requirements which we have gathered from the customer in the previous stage or not. If we have satisfied, then that particular software will be delivered to the specific customer who have ordered that particular software. Once you deliver that particular product to the specific customer, that particular software has to be well maintained, and that particular maintenance is carried out with the support of software evolution. Software evolution is an activity where we are going to maintain the product where we are going to maintain the software product which has been developed and tested in the previous stage. Why we have to maintain that particular product? Maintaining that particular product will help me to update the product in future. If I want some changes to be done in the product, then maintaining the product will help me to modify some changes into it and upgrade it and send it into the market with the latest version. For example, best example is like you have came across with different versions of Android mobiles in Samsung, like S1, S2, S3, S4, S5 and so on, isn't it? S1 product was the initial product which was developed by the company called as Samsung, and they have tested it and they have delivered it into the market. Later, after few days, they came to know certain requirements which was not satisfied in S1 from the customers, and what they done is they have opened that particular S1 implemented code and they have modified that particular code according to the need of the customer who have sent a comments to that particular on that particular product after buying it. So they modified it and they sent that they have renamed that particular S1 mobile to S2 and they have sent it into the market. Then S2 is converted to S3, then they have reset it into the market. So this is how the process takes place if I maintain the product which has been developed by me in the previous stages in a proper manner. If I maintain it in a proper way, then modifications can be done easily. If I don't maintain it, then again I have to start from scratch. Again I have to start from the first step to the last step. Again I have to start from requirements. Again I have to define the requirements. I have to bifurcate those requirements into major and minor. Again I have to identify the operations of it. Then again I have to design the software. Again implement it from the first stage to the last stage, and then again test it. It is very difficult. Again, it is nothing but a time waste. Wasting our time on the product which we have already developed. Why we are wasting our time? Because it is not well maintained. It was not well maintained by the organization. If it is not well maintained by the organization, then that particular product cannot be modified later. If it is so, then the organization may get into the loss. So if it is maintained well, then we can change only certain things of that particular implementation part, and we can develop a product fastly and we can deliver the product to the customers fastly. That is what this 4 important steps speaks about, 4 important activities speaks about. These are the 4 important fundamental activities whenever you are going to develop a software products. One is software specification, second one is software development, third one is software validation, and the fourth one is software evolution. Software specification, once again I repeat in brief, software specification, it deals with 4 different stages. One is, the first stage is gathering the requirements from the customer. Once you gather the requirements from the customer, second step is you will bifurcate those requirements into major and minor requirements, and you will define those requirements. After defining the requirements, you will identify the operations needed for it, and the constraints which are required for performing those operations can be known to me in this first step. After knowing that, the output of first activity will be considered as input of second activity, where the second activity here is software development. Software development is the one where we are going to design the outline structure of your system. It will help you to know how it must look like and what are the interfaces that we have to do. What must be the theme of this particular software can be known to me with the help of this software design. After designing it, we will implement it one by one. After implementing it, we will test the entire system to make sure that in the third step, we will test it. In order to make sure that it satisfies all the requirements which has been given by the customer in the first stage. If it is working properly, then it will be delivered to the customer. After delivering that particular product to the customer, it will be maintained by the organization in the fourth stage. Maintaining the software will help me to modify the requirements of the system which is already developed in future for further modifications. So this is what about the software process and its activities. Understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
No doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So the next concept here is software process model. What is software process model here? Software process model is nothing but software development process model is nothing but it is a descriptive approach of design and developing a product. Descriptive approach of designing and developing a product. Whenever we are going to develop any product, we require certain methods or models to develop. If I want to develop an Android mobile, let us say if I want to develop an Android mobile. If I want to develop an Android mobile, then I need to follow one particular method of development. Following like without applying any method for any development process or any kind of operation, it's impossible for me to develop a product. So this particular software development process model in general, it speaks about a descriptive approach of design and developing a product in a systematic manner. Designing and developing a product in a systematic manner. And this software process model is broadly classified into three different types. One is waterfall model, second one is incremental development approach, and the third one is spiral model. So the first and foremost and the basic model of software engineering is waterfall model. In general, we call this waterfall model as software development life cycle. Software development life cycle, or we can also say it as top-down approach, or we can also say it as sequential approach, or we can also say it as linear approach, or we can also say it as plan-driven model. See, one small concept deals with different names. One is sequential approach model, sequential model, second one is linear model, and the third one is plan-driven model, and the fourth one is top to bottom approach model. We can call this waterfall model in different manner. If they ask you with a neat block diagram, explain the sequential process, sequential model, and explain its advantages and disadvantages, we can move ahead with waterfall model. Why? Because a sequential approach deals with the help of deals in terms of waterfall model only. What is sequential here? Sequential speaks about one after the other. Non-sequential speaks about it may be one to many or many to one or one to one. If it is one to one approach, then it is a sequential approach. It is a sequential approach. Like completion of first step, going to the second step. After completing the second step, going for third step. After completing the third step, going for fourth step. After completing fourth step, going for fifth step. This is what a sequential process speaks about. Sequential approach speaks about. So waterfall model is a sequential approach where each and every activity of this model is represented as separate phase, or we can say it as separate step, where each and every step is arranged in a linear order or in a cascaded order. What is cascaded statement? I think you people are familiar with cascaded if statement, right? Yes or no? In terms of your C language, we came across with the different in terms of different types of conditional statements. We will be coming across with this particular word called as cascaded if statement, right? Yes or no? Please answer.
Yes, sir.
So what this cascaded if statement does? KS Preeti, Lavanya, Manjunath, Dhirendra, can you tell me What is the use of cascaded if statement? Cascaded if statement is similar to your ladder. It is nothing but a ladder approach. One step after, like we can climb the, we can move towards the top floor from by stepping down from first step to the second step to third step to fourth step to fifth step, isn't it? That is nothing but cascading process, cascading approach which we are using in order to move from ground floor to the top floor using the steps, where each and every step will be in a sequential manner. We can't skip any step there. Each and every step must be, we have to approach each and every step. Once you complete the process of second step, then only we have to move towards the third step, then third step to fourth step, then fourth step to fifth step. That is what this particular cascading approach also speaks about. So waterfall model is also called as a cascading approach or sequential approach. Why? Because each and every process activity is represented as separate phase, arranged in a linear order. This is what the basic definition of waterfall model is. Whereas the second model here is incremental development approach. See, in terms of incremental development approach, what we are going to do when we choose this particular model or a method for developing a product, then what we will do is we will develop the product. We won't develop the entire product. Instead, we will develop the each and every component of the product, and we will expose that particular component to the user, saying that this is what the first component which I have developed for your software. If he is okay, then we will move for second. Then again we will show it. If he is okay, then again we will move for third component. Again we will show it to the customer. If he is okay, then again we will move for fourth. For fourth component we will show it to the customer. If he is okay, then fine. So that is what it speaks about. Incremental development approach is nothing but developing the product component by component and exposing each and every component to the customer parallelly. Until when you are going to expose each and every component to the customer, until the entire system gets developed adequately. What is adequately in the sense? Acceptable system. Until you get completed with all the components and embedding of all the components. Once you develop a product, until you develop that particular product, until you develop all the components of the related product, you need to expose each and every component work to the user. So best example that I can tell you here is for incremental development approach is WhatsApp application. Earlier in the previous days, I am speaking about something around 5 years or 6 years back when WhatsApp came into existence. We used to that was a basic model. That was a basic model which was developed by WhatsApp company, and they have exposed it to the customers. They have published it to the customers. Later on, they started adding some more things, and they after adding each and every feature for that particular application, they are exposing it to the customer. And the customer, if the customer is facing a problem, then he will be sending a feedback to us. Feedback to WhatsApp application saying that this particular feature is not working in an appropriate manner. Then again they will change the things. Again they will add some more features. They will like each and every day the updations of that particular product goes on changing. Until when they do? Until that particular WhatsApp application contains all the features which is not present in any other application. This is what the process which the incremental development approach speaks about. Initial version, first I will develop a product, develop first basic component of that particular product, then I will develop the second component of that particular product. First I will develop basic component, I will show it to the customer. If the customer is happy, then I will go for second component. Again, I will show it to the customer. If the customer is happy, third component. Then I will show it to him. If he is okay, then again I will show it to him. Fourth component, fifth component. I will do this until the entire system gets developed. And this is done with the help of an approach which is called as incremental development approach. Incremental development approach in the sense one after the other. I plus speaks about it starts from 0, then it goes to 1, then it goes to 2, then it goes to 3, then it goes to 4, then it goes to 5 until when? Until the condition becomes fail, isn't it? Once the condition becomes fails, it means that I have reached the goal. I have reached the goal. The same approach is carried out in terms of incremental approach. Whereas the third model here is spiral model. Spiral model is one of the very important model when it comes to the point of development of software, as well as when it comes to the exam point of view for your main examination. So spiral model is nothing but it is a one which looks similar to spiral. It is nothing but it starts from one point and it goes on circulating from one point to a second point, second point to third point to fourth point, and so on until you complete all the activities of it. It is a risk driven model. Why we call it as a risk driven model is because it is one which always checks with what is the risk of each and every process which we are going to carry out in the product. In terms of these two models, we haven't spoken anything about risk. But in this particular model, along with all those basic activities, it is also one which is going to identify the risk between each and every process which has to be carried out for the development of a software product. And this particular spiral model is going to work in a parallel process rather than sequential set of activities. It is a one which works parallelly. Incremental development approach also works parallelly with all the basic fundamentals, whereas spiral model also works with the parallel approach rather than sequential approach. The difference between incremental and this one is, in terms of incremental, customer is needed every time, but in terms of spiral model, customer is not needed for me every time. Instead, we start working on our own, and until you complete the entire product, it will not be exposed to the customer. In terms of spiral model, we are not going to expose the product to the customer every time, and here we are going to identify what might be the risk for each and every process which we are going to carry out in the spiral model process. And this is what about the basic definitions of software process model. One is waterfall model, second one is incremental development approach, and the third one is spiral model. Spiral model can also be called as Boehm's spiral model. Whereas incremental development approach can also be called as evolutionary development approach. Okay, so this is what about the basics of software process model. Understood, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Are you happy with this particular class compared to the previous class?
Sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So the next concept here is waterfall model. I discussed about this in the previous class, but I was not satisfied with that particular class due to it was assigned to me immediately at 12 o'clock and asked me to take up the class at 12:15. I was not well prepared for the class with slides. Okay, so the next model here is waterfall model. What is waterfall model? I said to you in the previous slide. Waterfall model is nothing but it is a sequential approach where each and every activity or each and every step is represented as a separate phase, and each and every phase is interdependent on each other. Each and every phase which I have represented here, like first phase, second phase, third phase, fourth phase, and fifth phase, each and every phase are interdependent. Whereas the second phase is interdependent on first phase, third phase is interdependent on second phase, fourth phase is interdependent on third phase, and the fifth phase is interdependent on the last but one phase, that is fourth phase. Each and every phase are represented in a separate manner, separately, but the outcome of first phase will be acting as an input of second phase. The outcome of second phase will be acting as an input of third phase. The outcome of third phase will be acting as an input of fourth phase. And the outcome of fourth phase will be acting as input of fifth phase. This is how the process works here. Without getting the outcome of first phase, we can't move towards the second phase. Why? Because without getting the outcome, if I don't get the output of requirement definition, then it's useless of going to the second phase. If I don't get the output of second, then it's useless of going to the third. So until you complete the first phase, the second phase, third phase, fourth phase and fifth phase will be in an idle state. Once you complete the process of first phase, then only the second phase will become active. And the third phase, fourth phase and fifth phase will be in an inactive state. Why? Because the second phase is running and the outcome of second phase, since the outcome of second phase is acting as an input of third phase, we can't run this phase until you complete the second phase. It indicates what? Each and every phase are interdependent on each other, and the flow of work flows from top to bottom. The flow of work starts from top and ends with bottom. So we call it as top-down approach. And this particular model was designed and developed by Royce in the year 1970. And they have designed this particular model for the development of not only software product. This particular model is used for the development of hardware products also. When it comes to the hardware product, you don't think about an embedded system, you don't think about the components like diodes, transistors and so on. It might be diodes or transistors, or it might be the carpentering work of developing the table, or developing a guitar, or developing the drums. For each and every process, they were using this particular basic model for the development process. And this particular model is a one which is a sequential model, and each and every phase is interdependent on each other. And this particular model is also considered as SDLC. What is SDLC stands for? Software Development Life Cycle. And this particular software development life cycle is a one which always each and every phase is interdependent on each other. Okay, where the first phase here is requirement definition. What this requirement definition speaks about? Here, in this particular process, it is nothing but it is similar to requirement specification, which I have discussed earlier in the software process activities. What this requirement specification speaks about? I said you 4 different steps there, right? In terms of requirement definition, the manager of the organization is going to contact the customer and he is going to collect the requirements from the customer. That is first step. Once he collects the requirements, he will define those requirements. After defining those requirements, he will identify the constraints. After identifying the constraints, he will identify the operations which are required for those particular constraints. So here also, in terms of requirement definition, the manager or the software developer of a particular company is going to collect the information from the customer in terms of requirements. He will gather all the requirements which are needed for the development of the product. The customer will come to me and he will say, I need so and so application to be developed. So I will ask him, what is your requirement? So he will say, my requirement is my software must work so and so in this particular manner, and this is what the functions which has to be involved in it. In order to adopt this particular functions, I need I need certain features which has to be added as a basic features to it. So they will give some requirements to me. Like it is similar to I will go to a general. I will go to the general store. Once I get into the general store, the general store manager will ask me what is your requirement. So I will give him the list of items which is needed for me for my house. That list in terms of software, we call it as software requirements. Collecting the requirements as a manager of general store, I am collecting the requirements from the customer who have come to my shop. Once I collect those requirements, I will check it out what are the requirements that has been given by the customer, whether this requirements is acceptable by my general store or not, by my company or not. So if the requirements are is of same type which is related to that particular company, then he will accept it. If the requirements, like if I go to a general store and if I give the prescription medicine receipt to the general store person, can he accept those requirements? My question is to you is, I will go to a general store as a customer, I will give my prescription, medical prescription given by my doctor to the general store person, and I will ask him to give this, to provide me the requirements, to give this particular products. Will they provide us the product?
No, sir.
Yes?
No, sir.
No.
They won't provide.
So by taking those requirements, where I need to go?
Medical shop.
Medical shop. A medical shop is an organization which is going to satisfy the requirements of medicines. General store is the one which is going to satisfy the requirements of daily requirements of houses. Whereas each and every organization is having their own particular specifications and requirements, right? If I go to a specific shop with a specific requirements, then only the manager of that particular organization will accept my requirements. Isn't it? So I will collect those requirements from the manager. As a manager, I will collect the requirements from the customer and I will verify it, whether this requirement satisfies my organization objectives or not. Yes, if it is satisfies, then I will collect those requirements. I will define the requirements of those. I will define those requirements and I will design one particular document of it, and I will say that this is the time which is required for me to complete this particular job, and this is what the estimated cost of it. I will say to the customer. If the customer agrees for my agreement and if he signs the agreement, then later I will take that particular output of this particular document which I have designed in the first stage to the second stage. Then now second stage will become active. In second stage, the outcome document of first phase is considered as input of second phase, and here I am going to design the system as well as software design. System design and software design. What the system design tells you is how the system should like in terms of size, shape and so on. It will help me to know the outline architecture of the system. System design helps me to know the outline architecture of the system, whereas software design helps me to know the interface which has to be used for a particular product. Interface in the sense which component has to be connected to which component has to be interconnected to another component. See, each and every component of your model or a product is interdependent, isn't it? Your mobile, let us take your mobile as an example. Whether motherboard is an independent component of your mobile? My question to you is, your mobile contains n number of components, isn't it? Yes or no?
Sir.
So whether the component, the motherboard component is dependent or interdependent of in your product. Whether the motherboard is dependent component or independent component.
Dependent.
Yes? Please speak out. Even if it is wrong, not an issue. Please speak out.
Dependent.
It is an dependent component. Why? Why? Because the if the motherboard must become active, then we need to switch on that particular mobile. Switching on that particular mobile using a power button. So power, like motherboard is dependent on your power button, whereas power button is dependent on battery, and the battery is dependent on the charger. Charger is dependent on the power supply, isn't it? So
Sir.
this is what the interface we call. This is what the interface we call. Connecting one component with another component in order to make all those components to work in a proper manner can be known to me with the help of software design. With the help of software design. Once you design the architecture of the system architecture gives you, system design gives you the outline structure of your system, whereas software design gives you the inner design of your system. Inner design in the sense interfaces which is required in between each and every component of your system can be known to me only with the help of software design. Once you design the architecture of the system and once you design the software interface of your system, that particular part will be acting as your output of third phase, which is called as implementation and unit testing. What is implementation? Implementation is nothing but writing the code and executing each and every code of each and every component separately. Writing the code itself is nothing but an implementation process. In this particular phase, we are going to implement, or we are going to write the code for each and every component separately and test it separately. Once I take the design part of this particular second phase as an input to this third phase, what I will do is first I will write a code for first component 1, and I will run that particular code. After running that particular code, running a particular code will help me to test that particular code, whether that particular code is working properly or not. That particular process is carried out with the help of unit testing. Unit testing is nothing but testing component of your product. Testing individual component of your product is nothing but unit testing. So once component 1 is implemented and tested, second I will implement second component, third component, fourth component. Each and every component is developed separately and tested separately. Once you develop all the components and test all the components separately in the third phase, all the components which you have implemented in this third phase will be acting as input for the fourth phase, where this fourth phase is nothing but integration and system testing. Integration, first let us go with integration here. The output of third phase. What is the output of third phase here? Implemented code of each and every component. Implemented and tested code of each and every component of third phase will be acting as input of your fourth phase, which is nothing but integration and system testing. In terms of integration, we are going to combine all the components together. Integration is nothing but combining all the components which you have developed in the third phase together in order to form a product, in order to form a single product. Combining all the components together, once you combine all the components together, it comes up with a product. Once you complete the process of combining and converting that particular components to product, we have to test it. Testing the entire system which you have integrated in this particular phase. That particular system, entire system, you will be testing it here. Once you test that particular system, you will come to know whether that particular system is working properly according to the customer's requirement or not. If it is working properly according to the customer's requirement, then we will be delivering it to the customer. If it is working properly, then we will be delivering it to the customer. If it is not working properly, again we need to start from the first phase. We can't, like, if we, like for example, there might be some problem here. There might be some problem in the third phase. But here I came to know that. Here I came to know that in terms of unit testing of component 3, I have not tested it properly. I came to know that in this particular system testing process. If I, as soon as I come to know about it in the system testing process, I can't jump from down to top. I can't jump from this phase to the third phase directly. I have to again start freshly from first phase. I have to start freshly from first phase. Again, I have to move towards the third, and I have to try to again I have to try to change the process. Okay, so this is what about the integration and system testing process. Once the system is properly, once the system is working properly, once the system is working properly, we will deliver it to the customer, and we will try to identify, the process or updations which we are going, which we can perform the operation in future. Okay, so the next, after input, after getting the output of first phase, output of fourth phase, we will be moving towards the final phase, which is nothing but operation and maintenance. Operation and maintenance is a process where we can update the process, a process of an operation, and we can perform the operation by updating the system for future. So this is what
Very good, sir.
model is. This is
Maybe
what
actually put very sexy, sir.
this is what about the waterfall model. Okay, so here, based upon this, I have taken one small example here. One is related to a car. Here I have taken
Yes, car is Maserati, PCS Jam.
Vinil. You will be debarred from the class, as well as you will be detained from the college today. Tomorrow you will be getting a letter from the principal to your house. Okay? If you are not interested, you can leave the class. Instead, you are not supposed to disturb the classes. I have taken your name and everything. We will be sending you a letter to the concerned address of your house, and you will be detained from the college today itself.
Very, very good.
Fine, thank you. You can leave the class now. Don't disturb others. Okay, this is what about the waterfall model. So the next is advantages and disadvantages of waterfall model. So it is, as I said to you, it is very simple and easy to understand and perform the operation, easy to manage, works well for smaller projects. All the requirements are understood, and this particular, and it is also one which contains with various disadvantages, like the software is not working properly, high amount of risk and uncertainty, complex, and it is not a very good model for complex and object oriented products, and poor model for long and ongoing projects. And this is what about the waterfall model.